Joining us here at ESPN is MLS Commissioner Don Garber before the 24th MLS regular season in its history. Don, before we get into the exciting stuff for the regular season, obviously, Robert Kraft and that news and those reports of what's going on in Florida or what had happened in Florida, what are your thoughts of the situation?
You know, obviously, Taylor, we're aware of the case down in Florida and following the developments closely. You know, all leagues have a commissioner or give the commissioner a broad authority on the addressing these kind of incidents, whether it's a player, whether it's a staff member, or whether it's an owner. And we're going to continue to monitor it closely. You know, obviously it is a legal proceeding, and as such, I probably can't comment any further.
But there is a conduct policy for anyone, owner, player, or anyone affiliated with Major League Soccer.
Yes, all of us, whether it's the commissioner, its staff, players, or an owner, has a conduct policy, correct.
Major League Soccer is entering its 24th season here in 2019. And some would say, including myself, that it's coming off its most successful season in 2018. What do we expect?
Well, you know, listen, last year was unbelievable, Taylor. More goals, more shots on goal. There was a dynamic around our league that had us really competing with the rest of the world, something that we were very proud of. This year, it's only going to be bigger and better. We have a new team coming on in Cincinnati. We have a beautiful new stadium, Allianz, coming on in Minnesota. We're going to have a very excited All-Star game in the midseason. You know, we're keying up to building on all of this momentum. We've got South American Player of the Year joining our team in Atlanta. We've got two great coaches that have joined the league, three great coaches that have come from other leagues. So I think everybody who is following our league will expect and see, you know, a level of play and a level of excitement that'll raise the bar even higher.
Did you think when you took this job as commissioner of Major League Soccer that there would be a stadium like Allianz Field in St. Paul, Minnesota?
No, I didn't.
Neither did I.
And I love it. I love the pictures that are posted. You know, Bill McGuire, the owner of that team, put such love and care into that stadium. Great community support and civic support, and it's going to be beautiful. It's going to be lit up different times of the year with different colors, but most importantly, it's the home for Minnesota United and their fans. You know, a very passionate fan base that's been coming out and supporting their team. All their games are sold out. You know, it's going to be rocking in St. Paul, in the midway between St. Paul and Minneapolis.
You just talked about Cincinnati and Minnesota, and since 2009, since Seattle joined the league, there's been 9 franchises have joined Major League Soccer. And on the docket right now, you have Nashville, Miami, Austin, and yet there's that 4th expansion team. Where are we in that process? You
know, we've got to make a decision, you know, sometime soon, Taylor. There's no specific timetable, but we need to have that 28th team selected. You know, St. Louis and Sacramento are bidding hard for that remaining spot, the 28th spot. Both have great new ownership groups. Both have great stadium plans. We'll get our expansion committee together, get our ownership together, and we'll try to make a decision sometime this year.
Don, is there any way you could finagle a situation where you see both Sacramento and St. Louis come in immediately?
I don't see that happening, Taylor, but, you know, we've broken the mold so many different times in different ways with expansion. But, you know, we do think we need to select that 28th team and then figure out what, if any, plans we have to go beyond that.
Recently, you just signed a new deal, 5 years, if I'm not mistaken, to be the commissioner of Major League Soccer. Is this going to be your last deal?
You know, listen, let me get through year 1 of the new deal before I think about whether it be my last. But, you know, it's been 20 years for me, and the league has experienced a lot of growth, and there's been a lot of passion from our staff and our ownership and our players. We've got a lot of work to do. We've got at least 3, maybe 4 new teams coming on within that period of time. We'll have 4 or 5 new stadiums coming on board. We'll have the run-up to the World Cup in 2026. We'll have new tournaments taking place in and around our region with CONCACAF and here in our country. So lots of work still to do.
How many teams do you think, when it's all said and done, how many teams will be in Major League Soccer? Because I feel like when I listen to you speak and some owners, 30, 32 seems to be the number that everyone's looking at.
You know, we got to get 28 done, and we got to get them all onboarded as we've been working hard with Cincinnati, Nashville, Miami, and soon Austin. But, you know, I do believe that there is no city in this country that can't support a Major League Soccer team with a rabid fan base, with a great stadium plan, with a committed ownership group with a community that will get beyond the club. So, we'll sit down with our ownership group this year and determine whether we go beyond 28 to 30. Where that goes and when that goes, it's really too premature to say.
I'm curious, Don, in your 20 years, when did that change for you? When did you start to look at it and say, you know what franchise convinced you that, we can have more than 18 to 20 teams in this league?
Well, I think Atlanta probably did.
Okay.
2009, Seattle comes in and nobody ever thought we'd ever have tens of thousands of fans and 30, 40,000 season tickets. Thought it was an outlier. Atlanta comes in, it's got 55,000 fans on average. But every new team that's come on, Taylor, has been absolutely fantastic. We had a stadium that was supposed to be 20,000 seats. We expanded it to 27 in Orlando. We have an unbelievable dynamic going on in the rebirth of a club in Kansas City with a new stadium, a new ownership group selling out every game that they've had since they've been in Children's Mercy Park. Portland comes on and sets a new bar. Vancouver does the same thing. There's been so much growth that's driven by the passion of our country and North America overall to get behind a Division I soccer league like Major League Soccer with great players, great teams, community-based ownership groups that ultimately are raising the bar every year.
You mentioned the rebirth of Kansas City, now Sporting Kansas City. We were just together in Columbus, and now that resurrection, Save the Crew, has happened. When you reflect on your 20 years, I think it's understated the markets that have rebirthed themselves or regenerated themselves. I'm going to put you on the spot here. If you could pick one market right now that in the next 5 years will rejuvenate and change itself, what would it be?
That's a tough one, right? Love all my children.
Yes, yeah, I know you do.
I think we need new stadiums in New York and in Boston.
Okay.
We need a new stadium solution or a different stadium solution in Chicago. Those are three of the top markets in the country. And if they're able to solve what are legacy stadium projects and move to the downtown urban core, I'm convinced that those teams in large cities will give the league even more wind in its sails. But every team ultimately has their own unique opportunity and their own unique dynamics. I think our ownership group is, in my view, among the best in professional sports anywhere in the world. They love the league, they love their clubs, they love their community. And I think when they get focused on trying to get better and better each year and working with each other strategically, great things happen.
In December of 2018, I think when your tenure as MLS commissioner is over, I think we're going to all remember the State of the League address. And here's why. I'm going to give you two reasons why, and I want you to hear your comments. I think your first comment was, we need to become more of a selling league. That is a seismic shift in Major League Soccer's philosophy, and yet we saw it immediately. Don, when you said it, I remember coming on here at ESPN saying, I think that's going to happen in the next 2 or 3 years. Immediately, we've seen that. How difficult was that to convince the owners that you've now got to become a player in the global market?
Well, I think the key thing, Taylor, is it's the last point. The comment was more about becoming a player in the global market, buying and selling, being part of that energy that drives the development of young players, the sale of young players, the buying of young players. It's the buying and selling. And I think that comment probably should have been a little more thoughtful about it. It wasn't being a selling league. It was being a broader participant in the global market. And I think that's what we've become. If you think about where we were over the last period, nearly $100 million were spent on buying players, and $65 million or so was spent on or earned on the sale of players. I mean, that's the seismic shift.
Absolutely.
It's the fact that players have looked to Major League Soccer and made our clubs their club of choice and our league their league of choice. Pity Martinez could have gone anywhere.
Absolutely.
And he came to Major League Soccer and to Atlanta United.
Are the owners bought in on that?
I think they absolutely are. And Taylor, it's also coaches.
Yep.
You have Schelotto coming in.
That's a good point.
You have some of the great coaches, Frank de Boers and the new coach in San Jose, that have come into our league and coaching Chivas to a champion, coaching in South America and playing in the Copa Lib final. I mean, these are some of the best coaches in the world. They come into Major League Soccer. So that speaks to our being engaged in the global market. That's what we need to be and need to continue to do if we want to be one of the top leagues in the world.
The second part of your State of the League address in December of 2018 was the change of the playoff structure to reward what goes on in the regular season. You've heard me, we've had some good discussions both on and off camera. how important this is, do you think we finally see that gravitas to the regular season that we haven't really seen in years past?
Well, again, I always believed,
Yep.
never accepted, even though you and I debated a lot, that any club, every single club went into every single game wanting to win because they got to deliver for their fans. And we've had challenges with our playoff schedule as the international calendar continues to shift. We have no control over that. The league continues to grow. Our schedule gets moved this way and that. We needed to find a way to make our playoffs even more compelling than they were. And I think this is the right format. It's single elimination. The North American fan loves that. It's do or die. It's going to create a compelling moment of truth. We see our television ratings and our audiences grow when we have those single elimination games. And I think we're going to have that here. We're going to move the end of our season a little bit earlier. We'll give our teams an opportunity to both rest, but perhaps participate in other competitions, and ultimately give us something that I think will transform the league going forward.
Don, before I let you go, 2019 is a big year for both the league and the players union. How big of an importance is that CBA coming at the end of the year?
You know, I think it's very important. It is for every league, Taylor. And, you know, CBA negotiations are always difficult in any league and in any sport. We have a great relationship with our union. I've got great respect for their leadership. Our players, as you know, are very involved in that process. We have an ownership committee that is experienced. This will be their third negotiation that they've gone through. Todd Durbin and Mark Abbott run that process at Major League Soccer. They've been going through this for 2 decades. So at the end of the day, I've got confidence that everybody will get in a room, we'll get the right deal done, and we'll be able to move forward together.
You have one thing to pick right now to watch for in 2019. What is it?
Yeah, I think it's going to be our new playoff format. And obviously, I can't be one. It's got to be our new team in Cincinnati coming in. I got to throw in a third. It's Allianz Stadium. But I think
one.
I think you're going to see a great story coming out of the importance of our playoffs, caring about how our regular season, every game mattering even more, leading up to a compelling format, leading up to the MLS Cup.